What's up, Full Circle? It's your boy Flash coming at you with
It's your
another.
boy official go getter, man. I'm about to be over here on the computer making sure we looking right.
Yeah, man. What's Wednesdays? You know how we coming live and direct. Here to break down a couple things, man. Get into it. Shout out to everybody that's been here from the start, man. We got a couple members that been here. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody, man.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man. We,
We
we,
in
we,
there.
about, we about almost to
Oh yeah.
the end of the year, man. Oh, yeah, we looking nice. Yeah, it's getting to that winter time over here in Seattle. You know, I gotta have the puff around with the Carhartt beanie, man. You know, like I said, we almost getting to that winter time. I mean, not winter time, end of the year, December vibes, right? So, how are you feeling? How are you feeling?
Yeah, man. Coming up to the end of the year, man. Right around in the middle of the fourth quarter, so I'm feeling great. Right? Got getting up every day, you know what I'm saying? Waiting for the market to do what it do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Looking at how we're doing as an economy, shit like that. It's feeling good, even through all the turmoil. You know what I'm saying?
for sure.
Gotta have the hope. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna look better come 2026, right? Yeah, that's how I'm feeling.
No, now I feel you. You know, like you said, waking up, doing what we need to do by the day. You know, in these markets, taking it by the day. Um, a lot of things that have been going on in the world, and we still been on the markets though. We still been doing what we need to be doing, right? Not saying that it's been easy, but speaking on that, what are some ways that you've been trying to? That's the first thing we're gonna talk about, right? So that leads into our first topic. So what are some ways you've been able to keep some peace, keep some sanity, and able to just stay doing the things that you need to do during this time where a lot of the stuff that's going on to distract us, man.
Yeah. First things first is knowing when it's too much, right? And knowing where being aware of my environment
Yeah.
and realizing what I'm intaking, right? And so that's how I cut out the distractions. But with the things that are going on a bigger scale, like how I keep my peace is just realizing that, you know what I'm saying, there's a lot. I'm How can I say that? There's a bigger picture, right? There it's just at the end of the day, it's a bigger picture. And I gotta realize that this is just the moment that it is right now, right? It's gonna be better over time, right? And there's gonna be a time where I gotta realize what better looks like as well. I gotta be disciplined enough to realize that I'm not still in a drought, right, or whatever the case may be.
Yep. Yep. No, I feel that. I feel you, and like you saying, not getting too caught up in what's going on now. What we got going on now. We just stay diligent. It's gonna lead us to the better things that go on later. So for sure. So, um, oh, I don't got my phone. We about to pull up these topics for today that we got for you guys, man. We about to pull up these topics for today. The market's open. We got the market open right here. We market's at 683 right now. It's 11 a.m. as we recording, right? I'm looking at this Meta chart right here. As I'm looking at it, Meta's having a bad day, another bad day. They've been having a bad month. They've been having a bad time. So, but as always, buy the dip on these guys. Obviously, Meta is a proven company. Meta is a staple in our lives, right? So even though that I'm looking at this chart and it's saying 613, and we just came from 723, buy you some more, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm not saying do what you, not giving financial advice, right? Obviously, do what you feel like you want to do. But personally, I'm not panicking. I'm buying some more. This is what happens with these top companies. They have pullbacks, and that's what happens. The market moves in cycles. It moves up, it moves down, right? Lyft. Back to what we was talking about when we was talking about last week. Lyft that hit the $23, right? Lyft today is at 24.51, right? We're hitting that $25, man. And we was just, I told you guys about the options play. We had the Lyft, and you see where the price is at, and patience did his thing. So as well as SoFi 31.65, as well as I've been getting XRP notifications. XRP after that dip has been sliding back up. Um, Bitcoin's still at that 101, right? So there's opportunities out here for sure. There's opportunities out here. You want to say anything about crypto before we get into these topics for real?
Let's see. Let's see. You're right. Nah, honestly, let's jump right into these topics. You covered it pretty well.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about Meta though. I'm not gonna lie. When I was looking
Yeah,
at the
let me
chart,
know. Yeah.
oh, hold on. I seen that they had missed their earnings,
Yeah.
and ever since then it's been pretty downtrend since then. Or it was we were high and waiting for the earnings to come out, and then you see we dropped, right? And so
Had a big gap down.
yeah, news to me is what I was saying. I wasn't even aware of this.
Let me see. I'm gonna hit that E because I honestly so it was a surprise on their, not the revenue, whatever. I don't even know but they had so the revenue was good, but something about um whatever that top is.
Earnings.
Earnings and revenue. Um, as far as the earnings in the market, I guess they ended up doing it having less than expected as a surprise, right? So they reported
84%.
it was an
Is that
estimate of
$5?
six. Yeah.
Got you.
Oh, that's like five. It's either 5 million or a billion or something like
Damn.
that. So estimate of 6.6, but they only reported one.
Yeah.
So
Damn.
that's a big surprise.
Yeah.
But
That's crazy.
I'll look into that. I'm not really too sure what exactly they missed though. But either way, Meta's alright.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's look at that real quick.
Yeah.
Pull the computer over here for us. What caused Meta to? You know what? We ain't even finna. We about to get ultra tech on you guys. You guys don't even know. We using voice.
Ooh.
Let me talk to chat in voice mode.
New edition.
New edition. What's up, chat?
Hey there. What's up? Ready to dive in? We
Hey.
can definitely cook up something awesome.
All right. You talking too much. All right. We already on the live, man. You're live on the mic, man. And live, I got a question, man. So why exactly did Meta drop after their earnings? Why did they miss their earnings, right? They beat revenue, but why did they miss their earnings?
Oh, I gotcha. So, yeah, sometimes that happens. Even when a company like Meta beats on revenue, they can still miss on other expectations. It's usually because investors were looking at other metrics too. Maybe their profit margins were a bit softer than expected, or they gave guidance that was weaker than what people were hoping for. So even if the revenue numbers look good, if the forward-looking statements or certain other numbers don't quite line up with what analysts expect, the stock can still drop. It's all about those expectations.
All right. And when it came down to Meta specifically, what did they report for their expectations, or what exactly did they miss on that may have caused the stock to drop?
Absolutely. So for Meta in particular, the market was probably weighing a few things beyond just the revenue line. A lot of times investors are looking at their profit margins, their ad revenue growth, or even their user growth metrics. If Meta signaled that, for example, costs are going up because they're investing heavily in AI or the metaverse, that can make investors a bit nervous about short-term profits. Or maybe their future guidance suggested that the next quarter might not be as strong as people hoped. So even if they beat on revenue, if they missed on earnings per share or gave cautious forecasts, that's often enough to cause the stock to dip.
He came with some good information. He did, but I wanted
Yeah,
the exact information. You know, so maybe I might have to type it out so he can come with facts or something. You could take the mic real quick.
Yeah. I'm here looking at the statistics as well, trying to figure out what it was. And it don't. I was looking at this right here. It says expenses and adjustment. So that might be what he was talking about, low key, about employees.
Oh, yep. Okay.
And they also net income. They didn't really they didn't really profit this earnings. They have a lot of revenue, but oh no, gross profit. I'm burning.
So let's see. I got it pulled up right here. Let's see. Here's a detailed look. Why sometimes the jock when it looks good. Summary: Meta's Q2 numbers were strong, but the market cares about what happens next. And if the cost investment burden or guidance looks heavy, then even a beat can lead to a drop. Um, so basically, what I'm seeing from this and everything that I'm reading here is that it could be due to the fact that with everything else Meta's got going on with their VR stuff and their augmented reality stuff, maybe the cost that it may take to make that isn't looking too good as far as the profit in the future. What Meta did quarter two 2025 in particular, Meta reported revenue of 47.5 billion. Net income was 18.3 billion. The family of apps, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger had revenue of 47 billion in that quarter. Meta's cost and expense base rose too. So as well, so they had a cost and expense base that rose. Total expenses were 27 billion, which was up 12% year over year, right? So, Meta's also guided Q3 2025 revenue to be 47.5 billion to 50 billion. Bottom line for quarter two, they beat estimates and posted strong growth. But when people ask why the stock dropped, we need to look beyond the headline. So why might the stock drop despite good headline numbers? Forward guidance, future expense growth. Even though Meta's Q2 numbers were strong, Meta flagged expenses, especially infrastructure, AI build out, employee compensation will increase materially. Okay, this is all making sense, right? Because AI is built. So you seen that underwater Meta thing that they're trying to underwater tech thing that Meta is building across the world underground?
Nah, what does it do?
So they literally got they're building it underwater, and it's basically to power. It's like an electricity power thing to power like the AI, but instead of using it, taking more land, I guess, and they're just gonna use this new thing, an underwater type of thing. So they've been investing into that, and they got it going through India right now. They got it going from.
This is a lie.
Yeah, they got it. I saw like the map of the build out. They got it going from, I forgot where it starts, but then it goes to India, and then I believe at some point it gets. But they call it like the W because it moves in like a W, like so. So, anyways, they're building stuff like that, right? We already know about Meta's VR and their display glasses. They're doing a whole bunch of different things. So it's gonna take that money to do so, right? So I guess we could just stop there, instead of reading the whole thing. But like that's a good point, right? It takes a lot of money to do those things, and if you are adding more into the business and maybe even doing more like revamping the business, like Meta's going from just social media to focusing now on their VR, just the VR and the display glasses, all that stuff, right? So that takes money, right? And you'll see them lose money putting it into that until that those products are great, right? And then those products bring back a revenue. So until then, that's even a more better reason to buy. You got anything you want to say?
Nah, you broke it down. You broke it down perfect.
All right, bet. You could just start with the topic.
I got you. We'll get straight to it. One of the second topics was we had already covered the first one. The second one was, what are you willing to lose to gain peace? Right, and so that's a nice. It's a question because you gotta get within yourself and really figure out what you would need to, what will be something that you need to overcome, right? And so, personally, I was willing to lose the. I was willing to lose like not necessarily the fear of missing out, just not being in the crowd with everybody and doing what they're doing, right? Yeah. And I was willing to be cool with being at home and what I'm saying, learning myself, right? And getting to know myself more than trying to cloud my judgment around other people that are trying to figure it out themselves. They're just at the, what I'm saying, at the concert or they're at the club, what I'm saying, they're at the, no, not saying not have fun, right? But knowing wise to do so, right?
Yeah.
Being able to differentiate, just being fully aware of where one would be. You know what I'm saying? And being able to hold yourself to a standard. Yeah, touch up on that.
Nah, no, those are definitely good points. You know, sacrificing that fear of missing out, right? The fear of you know, literally not being a part of what everybody else is a part of. Like, you know, sometimes as humans, that's naturally we want to just be around. We want to be in the mix, right? We have to train ourselves. Like that takes a real discipline to train your mind to just be okay with sitting inside on a Friday night. Like truly, and we know that's why we do full circle wealth and like to talk about this because we've been there. You know, it takes a habit. You know, and mine for me, when it came down to what I have sacrificed so far, something I've sacrificed so far to just for peace was the looking like I don't got it, right? So I stopped worrying about looking like I don't got it. Stop worrying about what other people say, right? Because if I gotta look like I don't got it, knowing that I definitely do have it, right? I had to be okay with that, right? I really did have to be okay because you know, something that we all don't like is people talking about us, right? But when it comes down to growth, you got to be so in tune with your growth and your mission. And we've talked about that. I mean, like we got to the point where you know you just get to that point where like the mission is so important that nothing else matters, you know. And what truly matters is you know that 10 years from now, that 30 years old, when we 32, 35, right, and we want to have some assets, right? Still talking about stocks and crypto, real estate at that point, and the business is more than booming. So if it takes me being a little talked about or misunderstood to get to that point, um, I'm cool with that, right? So be it. And along that journey, it's a crazy thing that you realize that when you start to do things, man, you just open the door for people who wanted to do things that they didn't have the courage to do, right? So like now, when I got to the point where like I was finally okay being out with my bros and being like, man, why do we? I would love to spend time with you guys, but if it involves spending some bread, I'm not doing it. You know, we can go do a workout, we can link together and talk, or we can just you know figure something out. But it don't have to be about spending no money, right? Since when I was the first person to say that, now you get everybody else saying that, right? Oh well, man, you right, man. The only reason why I be eating for real and coming out to eat is because I'm just spending time with y'all. I don't want to have to spend no money. I mean, I don't want to have to just go out to eat to spend time with y'all. You know what I'm saying? If that's what we're gonna do, and I'm hungry, I'm gonna buy something to eat, right? But like doing stuff like going out to eat for an activity, you know, even you know, going out for drinks just because, you know, like um, a whole bunch of things that we just do to spend money, not thinking about the bigger picture, right? Not saying don't enjoy yourself, right? It's always important to enjoy ourselves, but to make it a habit to only enjoy ourselves by spending, right? Until we all the way there, you know. Exactly. So yeah,
Yeah, I feel that. Kind of just listening to what you said and what I said. It's just you know what I'm saying being able to sacrifice, really becoming a leader, right? Being able to control your life and the things that are around you. Just being able to lead, right? And those are just common aspects between what we just said, kind of like a middle ground, and just being the best leader we know to be. You know what I'm saying?
You know, matter of fact, piggybacking off of that, man, because like that is facts. All this comes down to the fact that you know, we're being shaped to being the best leaders that we can be, right? So in those moments, right, where you just like, in those moments where I kind of like lost my question, but it was basically along the lines of, in those moments, what do you tell yourself when when you know you have to make certain decisions that most people aren't gonna make, right? Or most people don't make, or even like how we have to make decisions for, we have to set the tone. So if you don't set this tone and make this decision for yourself, right, and you have to do that uncomfortable thing for everybody, people who are older than us, people who we should be looking up to, people who should just know better in general, whether despite their age, right? So what are some things you tell yourself in those moments as a leader to remind yourself, like, like to feel confident about what you're doing. Because I'm saying this from the standpoint of like specifically from the standpoint of like when you make your decision knowing that it's going to affect somebody else negatively. How do you remind yourself knowing that like you're just being a leader?
You know, really, it's kind of like subconscious for me. Like I kind of my morals is so I stand on really principles really. So like if it goes outside of my morality, then it's like almost a no. I'm it's a no brainer almost. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't go against what I stand for, right? And you got to stand for something at the end of the day. And so which will be okay. Not everybody stands for the same things, to each their own, right? You know what I'm saying? But as a leader, you have to stand for it's a certain code, right? Like the integrity is a must. You know what I'm saying? Like being dependable is a must, right? And so there's gonna be times where people that depend on you are gonna ask you tough questions, and you gotta, you know what I'm saying, and you're just have tough conversations, you know, and you gotta. It's not like a dominance thing, right, or anything like that. It's a morality. I'm standing on principles. This is what I'm standing on. So I always keep that in the back of my head. Like this is me, right? This is principle. This is my principle. You can't if you don't stand for nothing, you're gonna fall for everything. And so that's what it takes.
Nah, I feel you. No, and I wholeheartedly agree for real. You know, it's important for you to have principles, right? Because like you said, if you don't stand for something, you're gonna fall for everything, right? So I would say the same thing for me. You know, that's my answer as well. Those principles remind me that I'm making the right decision, right? Or feeling confident in my decision, right? Because I'm not making things from when you don't make your decision from an emotional standpoint, right? You have something you can stand on, right? Whether you're right or wrong, right? Maybe how you may have got your point across could have been wrong, but the truth is still the truth.
Right.
So I feel you. I definitely feel you. Here, I got you. You can move on to the next question for us, man.
This time we're talking about faith and strategy and why faith doesn't replace strategy, it fuels it. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like there's a few ways that you can take this. Obviously, the first step is God, right? You having faith in God and having that love for not only God but yourself. Mm-hmm. It once you get the strategy, right? Because you know God loves you and you love God, and so that's step one. But if you come with the plan and you ask to be guided in the right direction, as well as come up with the strategy to do it on your own. You come up with the strategy and plan it out and execute. It's a controlled fire, right? Mm-hmm. You keep adding to it. It's fuel. The better the plan, right? Because the love for God is always there. So that's the fire right there. That's that spark. So you having that plan is that fuel that you need to have this for you to blow up, right? For us to blow up, full circle wealth. And we're a lot about morality today and just being leaders. Like these are, you know what I'm saying? These are all leader quality in aspects. As a person, you got to have these types of, you have to have this sort of mindset to become better in any capacity, right? And first step is with God.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't want to get too deep.
Nah, you're good.
Yeah.
Let me just read the question again. Faith and strategy. Faith doesn't replace strategy. Yeah, no, brother broke it down, man. Brother broke it down. You know, straight faith isn't just there for you to just stand there and say, I want to accomplish something, man. Faith is for you to have that spark and, you know, okay, God loves me. Let me go show my love for God by going out and putting action behind it, right? So, literally, you know, in James chapter 2, I was just reading the Bible the other day. They talk about faith without works is dead, right? God said it himself in the word, man. Like, faith without works is dead, right? So the best way for you to show any type of love to God is if you have any type of faith is to go work on something, right? If you whether that's building a brand, full circle wealth, whether that's, you know, building a business as a barber, whether that's, you know, trading and investing, you know, man.
Something creative overall.
Because here's the thing, man. God didn't have to do nothing. That's right. God. He created us, and he's the ultimate stun. Like, he's stunning on everybody. Just the fact that he created humans and birds and all this just because just to show us, man, we just supposed to create, right? And he's gonna be part of our creation, man. So definitely, faith doesn't replace strategy, but it fuels strategy. So yeah, anything you want to touch on lastly?
Yeah, yeah, love God, man. Love yourself. Take your time to really find a place to be loved as well, right? Because you gotta hear. A lot of people talk, but you gotta also be able to listen, right? And that goes on many levels. And so you gotta, yeah,
Talk about that, man.
yeah,
Just touch on how you humble yourself when it like because we learn from everybody. So like, what type of mindset? What do you tell yourself when it's time to humble yourself to listen to somebody who could be better than you or less than you?
right. And how do I like process it, or how do I do it?
How do you what basically what type of tips and tricks do you have for somebody who struggles to do that or needs to?
Yeah.
Like why is that necessary?
Because there's everybody comes from a place where they're down, right? And so and even up as well. People come. Life is like the charts, man. You know what I'm saying? And so there's a lot of volatility, right? So I seen this video, kind of drifting from the point, but it's a good point. Look, right. You already know full circle. So look, seen this video, and this dude was like, "It's bullish in the higher time frame. The higher time frame is bullish, right?" And so what he meant by that was, we're in the smaller time frame where there's a lot of ups and downs, and this is dips. But if we zoom out on life and look at the bigger picture, and we go to the higher time frame, we go to the 4 hour, the weekly, it's an up chart. It looked like meta. You know what I'm saying? It looked like meta, and so it comes to a point where it's for you to have to you humble yourself in those type of situations. You know what I'm saying? You get to a point where you've been up, right, so far high, right, and people fall. You know what I'm saying? Or you've been so low, even, and you get so high up, you remember what it looked like to be down, right? So you know that everything can be taken from you just like that. And so you have to kind of keep that in your mind as to when you go and you see people on the street, right? Or you see even people that are walking in a suit, whatever the case may be, whatever your perception is of them, you have to realize that you're not better than them at all, right? We're all in the same place. We're trying to figure it out. And so, yeah, that's how I do it. It just becomes to a point where, you've seen the low, you know what the low looks like. So being humble enough to be like, I don't want to be there, right? I know what I need to do to be where I want to be, right? And I'm not talking down on whoever is, the homeless guy on the street, right? He had a rough life or whatever the case may be, but I'm rambling. But the point is, it comes built in because there's ups and downs in life. And so, yeah, I know where I could be. I know it could be worse.
Yeah, and I might have seen the same video you seen because the other day I seen something just like that. If you look day to day, life's always hard, right? But when you zoom out, you look in the last 2 years and see where you might have came from. Look in the last year and see where you might have came from, and see the fact that you done been through all these things and you're still all right.
I still look like this.
So at the end of the day, and like you said, you can learn from anybody. You can learn from a homeless guy. You can learn from a guy with $1 billion, right? Once you learn, once you learn a lot, you understand the more you know, the more you don't know. And that is real, right? Because if somebody who's really truly trying to grow and learn, you're gonna hear that homeless man that's talking to you for about 30 seconds, and if he's not talking about something, you're gonna go along about your day. But if he's talking about something, you might sit there and listen to him and learn something, So yeah, that's definitely important to be able to humble ourselves, because a lot of people have a lot of people, we all have ego, right? And the whole goal is just to put that ego to death, man, so you're able to just experience life to the fullest, because you're missing out on a lot of information, focusing on where it comes from, and sometimes focusing on how it was said. So
Yeah. Next question is, uh, when do you feel like, when did you feel like you weren't surviving anymore and you were actually growing?
That's a good question. I think, and to put it, I think I realized that when I started realizing that like surviving is a part of growth. I stopped separating the two. I fell in love with like I didn't separate the process and the progress. I just connected it and just the process is progress, right? And that just became much easier for me, right? I really, I didn't do that just to be I didn't really do that just to be like have some strong mindset or be some cool guy. I did that just so I could make the now feel much better because that gap of where you're about to be and where you are right now, it'll really mess with you. Personally, it was really messing with me. I used to move day to day, kind of mad. Used to interact with certain people and just be like, man, I'm still over here. And yeah, so I stopped separating the two and just started to fall in love with the fact that surviving is, um, um, it was surviving and what else? Growing. Oh, surviving, learning how to survive is growing, right? Learning how to put the process in and really put the work in is the progress, right? Because that shapes us for the end result. So, how about you though?
Yeah, you said it perfectly. I'm not gonna lie, but just being able to merge those two, progress and process and progress, like it, you gotta have a strong mind. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. Yeah, man. You said it perfectly, low key. Like that is that's just A1.
That's one of the hardest part about this stuff. Like where you are now, where you trying to get to.
Exactly. And trying to fill that gap, it's like you're trying to. At that point, you're being somebody that you know what I'm saying. You want to be, but you're trying to. It's like kind of fake. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to, not necessarily fake, but it's just like not you yet. You got to go through those stages of growth, right? You got to trust that process because of the progress. You know what I'm saying?
I found out the word alignment. The
Yeah.
word for that is alignment.
Yeah.
And then like and actually talking to ChatGPT about it. Like he just was like once you find that being okay with where you are, the process, the progress, you feel aligned. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm here right now, and I know I'm supposed to be right here. Because I know I'm gonna be where I'm gonna be. But let me just be right here, right now, because I had watched. There was a football player, right? Oh my bad, I didn't mean to the mic, but there was a football player, right? And he was saying, he was playing college and football, and he ended up having to work after college or work after school and stuff like that. But while he was in college, I believe he was like his first couple years, he was talking about the mindset of like just trying to grind so hard that he's not really there, right? So by the time he graduated, he looked back, he's like, damn, like I was so busy trying to leave that place and get away and grow from that place that I didn't actually enjoy the fact that I would do anything to go back to that place right now. You know what I'm saying? So like being able to just sit here right now, enjoy the fact that we're in the studio and we're gonna be in the high rise or we're gonna have the mansion and wherever we want, right? And we're got the camera right now, and eventually we gonna have the Sony X7, whatever. So just being knowing that this is great and we working with what we got. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Coming to our last question. It says, it's a statement. It says, not focusing on evolving externally, but internally. Right? So, back to that alignment, right? You got to be aware of, but when you get alignment, you get to the point where, what matters to you is internally and not externally, because you're worried about your peace, right? You're worried about your headspace, the fact that you are, sane enough to make the right decisions and not have to second guess or whatever the case may be, right? When you're in alignment, it comes from within, right? Internally, and so another lens is like social media and stuff like that. Like you you evolving you evolving here first outside of you know what I'm saying what's on your phone and like who you portray to be on the internet is something completely different, right? And that's like a lot that's kind of like a big problem on how people act. Like they get confused on what is real and what's not. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And so they it gets to a point where sometimes relationships don't really work out. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be. You know, like it gets deep, right? You get to because people know you.
Deep. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People know you internally, and so like when you try to be somebody else, it makes it harder. Not only for yourself, but for people to be around you and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You want to touch upon that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, you hit it on the nail as well, dude. Like that. It's just so important for us to just know who we are.
Yeah.
Like dog. Like just being able to like look outside and just so many of the people who are lost and don't know who they are, man. You letting the world tell you who you are. There's a woman who got photos up on Instagram and that's not really who they are. There's dudes who wearing outfits and posting up on Instagram and like, that's not who we are. Like we're not in high school no more. You feel me? Like we're not in high school no more. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses. You don't have to worry about the cliques and who's who and who's doing what, like and who's got what on and worrying about how you look if you don't got certain things on. Like, man, it's 2025. Like, and we're in 10 years, if you in your 20s, you're gonna be 30. All that stuff gotta go for real, bro. Like, it don't matter. Like, it don't matter. And like that social media stuff. Like, just focusing on. Here's the thing: social media is a part of our lives, right? Like, even with me being a content creator, you being on social media as well. Like, you gotta really learn yourself internally. So, like, if I lost this camera, I don't lose myself. If I lost the Instagram page, I'm still me. I don't have to separate official go getter because honestly, that was a work in progress too. Like you have to really walk into who you are because you can't fiddle around. Like I didn't even want to be one way off the camera and then be another way on the camera. I had to really find my way to merge me because what is that? What is that what's it called? Syndrome, identity syndrome, or what's that called? But that syndrome where it's just like what's it called? Like I forgot, but it doesn't matter. But like really just understanding your identity so you don't mistake your own identity, right? Like
multiple identities.
nah, it's like what's that? Because they call it a my bad, y'all. We gonna find it real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I guess you're just gonna call it identity syndrome, right? But it's just the part where like you feel like imposter. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
bro, I'm like just brain fart, bro. Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Where like you want to always. I wanted to avoid that imposter syndrome because as I started creating content, like I did it to walk into a version of me that I was trying to become, right? Because it's important that you do not wait for the perfect timing, but also don't play with when you start, right? Walk into who you are. And I was waiting on. I was trying to become this version. I started before I was that version, but I was working towards it, and it's important for you to figure out who you are, pull it back full circle because, I was able to finally choose a side, right? Because as people, when you're growing, you gotta, you choosing your old self or you're gonna go walk into your new self, right? And at some point, you hit that part where it's like, I gotta either stay here or I'm jumping, right? And it's important that you take that leap, and you can only do that if you like internalize your growth, because externalizing your growth, man, that leaves you empty, right? But if you internalize it, man, you got your whole cup full. You'll be okay if you got Balenciagas on or a pair of Crocs. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, what are one way, at least we can't give all the sauce away, but one way you strengthen your relationship with self and identity, right?
Yeah. How I do it is doing things that I like to do, right? And so just being in my flow avatar state, you know what I'm saying? Like just being who I am regularly. I like to, you know what I'm saying? I like to cook and I like to be creative. I low key like to draw, you know what I'm saying? I'll be in there, little quick little sketch or something, you know what I'm saying? Get in the kitchen with me up a nice, good gourmet grilled cheese. That's when I feel like I'm, you know what I'm saying, my best self. When I'm doing the things that I like to do, my hobbies, you know what I'm saying? And laughing and dancing as well. Music, huge for me. Like, on my way to work, I put the music on. You know what I'm saying? Rather if it's, you know what I'm saying, no matter what type of music it is, it's bumping. You know what I'm saying? Jill Scott all the way to the Big Cheese, right? Like we you feel me? In the morning, it's that's how I start my day. You know what I'm saying? It's music that keeps me moving, and so ultimately, just doing things that I appreciate, that I hold so close. You know what I'm saying? And that I have love for. What about you?
Um, the same thing.
Yeah.
You got to do what you like to do because that's what it comes down to. Like figuring out what it is that you like to do, man, and doing that and being okay with doing that.
Yeah.
If you're okay with going to the gym and taking a walk, do that. If you're okay with like after this, I'm thinking about Dave's Hot Chicken and just going to walk around Capitol Hill. Like man, and I'm okay with doing that, right? And being okay with walking by myself and staying inside on a Friday, staying inside on a Saturday. You know, doing okay with doing the things that I like to do because that's how you strengthen your identity. Because the more you do that, the more you look around and realize first people aren't doing what they truly want to do and doing what the world wants them to do, and then second, you realize how um, it makes you feel real confident. It makes you real confident in who you are. It makes you realize how much you don't give a damn. So excuse my French, how much you don't care. So with that being said, man, you want to end it us? Anything you want to say before we end
Nah,
off?
you go ahead. I'm end it off, man. Tell them what it is.
Um, yeah, man, you guys already know, man. That was both Wednesdays for you guys, man. Follow us on the Instagram, Full Circle Wealth _ Follow us on the Twitch, obviously Full Circle Wealth. Subscribe to the YouTube. We're gonna be putting this video on the YouTube, man. Comment, leave any comments that you guys feel like you want to leave. Questions, concerns, opinions, hate. We'll block you, but hey, leave it.
Let me see that. Last thing before we get out of here, man, get you some assets, man. We're in 2025, almost at the end of the damn 2025. We're going into 2026. Get you some assets, man. It don't matter what it is. Go get you some silver. You know what I'm saying? That's trading at like $50 right now. You know what I'm saying? Go get something. Go get anything. You know what I'm saying? A half of something. A third of something.
Trump, if he come out with that two bands, and Aristotle said he told them what he gonna invest in. So let's do that for us. What you gonna invest in with that two bands?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm funding at a trade account. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna put like 700 in there for the trading account. I'm gonna have 1300 for the. I might buy some I might buy some H bar and some XDC, man. Yeah. I need to get in my ETF bag though.
I feel
Not
you.
gonna lie.
I feel you. No,
We gonna see when the funds hit. That was
I
that.
thought about it yesterday, and I didn't even think about funding the trading account. So I definitely mine was like I think I said like Bitcoin, Meta Leaps, and like like another coding bootcamp class for like some real software stuff. But when I think about the trading now, I'm gonna go. Okay, Meta was for trading, for the options, so I'll just split that up then. I'll split up for the trading that I had put. I was gonna put like 1,000 into Meta. So I'll just take 500 and put into the trading account and just put 500 and buy some Meta Leaps, or buy a Meta Leap because Meta's expensive, and now I gotta reverse. I gotta rearrange. I gotta rearrange. I gotta So I want my Bitcoins. You know what?
We need some Bitcoin,
I'm going ban Bitcoin. I'm going ban going into the trading account, and
I think that's the way.
my ban at the end of the year for 2026 is gonna be 200 bands.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Nah, for real.
allegedly, don't come to me next year
Yeah.
try to no.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. But other than that, you got that.
Yeah, Bitcoin. I had seen this video, and it was a slideshow, but 2021 when the first stimulus came, and you would have put the money in there, they gave you, I think it was like 1,800, 1,600. Shit turned into 20 bands by now, right?
Yeah.
So that's 4 years. You holding $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, right? Just come on now, it's free money. You might get you some asset, man. Full circle way. That's just how it go. But we out of here though, man. It's your boy Flash.
It's your boy Fisher Go Getter, man. You know, tap in, man. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Full circle out, man.
Yes, sir.
Get you some assets.
Get you some assets.